Now, live from Tampa, Florida, the 2012 Republican National Convention with Brian and Brian, sponsored by the Media Research Center.
105.9 FM
and AM 630.
WMAL.
Good morning, everybody. It is 8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, live from Tampa, where tonight the nominee takes the stage and makes his case to the American people. There is a man who he often turns to for advice. He's a top campaign advisor. Former Senator Jim Talent is in the room with us. Actually, he's on the phone with us right now to talk about what Mitt Romney needs to do to knock it out of the park tonight. How are you, Senator Talent?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you guys doing? I'm across the way from you, but as you know, that's not exactly a 3-minute walk.
Yeah. No, so it's really not with the security around this place. We jokingly refer to it as being like the green zone. It really is.
You didn't know you guys were so important and so much in need of protection, did you?
No, we didn't.
I think they're trying to keep us away from you guys. Hey, so talk to us a little bit about the speech tonight and what you think that Mitt Romney needs to do to sort of make his case, because really, it's not the people in the hall, it's not the people who've pretty much decided they're going to vote for Obama. It's that still persuadable small slice of Americans who haven't yet made up their minds. What does he need to do?
Well, you're right, and those folks know that what the president's doing isn't working, and they know it's not working because he's relied too much on government. He's made the government so big that it's impeding our ability to grow the economy. And so I imagine Governor Romney will sort of reinforce that sentiment early, and then he will go big. He's going to talk about his ideas, which are energizing the American economy, getting the budget under control, which is going to produce fiscal solvency and sanity, and do it in a way that actually makes the government services people need better. And I think he's going to express the optimism that he feels about this country and what we can do in the future. Romney knows the problems. You can imagine, looking at his background, that he can figure things out. And he's very confident about his ability to lead and about the ability of the American people to turn things around under his leadership. And I think you're going to hear that tonight.
All right, you mentioned the word optimism. I've listened to a lot of speeches. I've liked them all so far, but it's been about tough choices that we have to make. It's about we're running out of time to fix things, but not as much on optimism about, hey, let's grow this economy, let's get jobs going again. Do you think, to me, I would like to hear Governor Romney talk about that tonight and focus really more on optimism.
Yeah, and he's going to. I'm sure he'll talk, for example, about his energy policies. We have we think, and let me just focus on that for a second because It's an example. I mean, we think about energy like we're, dependent and at the mercy of all these countries that don't like us, and that has been true, but it's only because we're not doing what we know how to do and can do and what other countries do. We're not producing energy. We can be not only energy independent, that's almost too modest a goal, but particularly as a North American continent and with the Canadians and Mexicans, we can be an energy superpower. And he said that last week, and he's just right. That's what everybody in the field concludes.
Yeah,
all we've got to do is get the energy that we have domestically, which every other country does, but our government stops us from doing, and the president's been the worst in that respect.
I think one of the most underreported stories of the year has been what's going on in North Dakota and the unbelievable growth there and an unemployment rate which is basically negative right now because of...
That's exactly right. We can... Governor Romney's energy policy, which is just like streamlining regulations, it takes over 300 days for the federal government to consider a permit and leasing application to explore for oil or natural gas on federal lands. Colorado does it in 27 days. So what Governor Romney is going to propose is, how about letting the states handle leasing and permitting for federal lands within their borders like they already do on state lands? We'll get this huge explosion of energy production, and we'll get better protection of the lands. Because the states really know their lands and they care about this. This whole field's a backwater for the federal government, but it's really important for states like Colorado and the Dakotas and Montana. And so you're going to hear a lot of common sense, but ideas that seem common sense to the rest of America, but seem like tough choices in Washington.
All right, I want to talk to you about the lay of the land in Missouri right now, where Real Clear Politics average is Romney up by 4.3, doing fairly well there. First of all, are you surprised by that? And then secondly, Has there been any impact from the Todd Akins matter in the state of Virginia that you can detect?
Well, I do think Mitt Romney's going to carry Missouri. We're a heartland state. We know this government is too big, and we know that we can turn it around, and I think people are becoming more and more comfortable with his leadership. Yeah, what's happened in the Senate race has been a distraction. I don't think at the end of the day it's going to affect the presidential race, but look, we need a Senate that is going to support Governor Romney's policies, or we're going to go on with 8% unemployment and median family income down, et cetera. So it's very important in that respect. And, I still hope that we can do that in Missouri, but we obviously have an issue now that we didn't have a couple of weeks ago.
And I apologize for misspeaking. I was thinking about my second question, and here is that. Virginia is a battleground state. Mitt Romney needs to win Northern Virginia in a huge way. And yet, though we're a radio station that broadcasts directly into Northern Virginia, Senator, we can't seem to get the senator and the governor to come on our show.
Well, I will see what I can do about that.
Thank you. That was a backdoor way of asking for some help.
I'm not part of their communications department. I think he's obviously does an enormous number of interviews. I'm a huge believer in doing radio. I mean, I think you can do a lot of radio very quickly, and it's something I've urged on them. And Governor Romney does do radio, but I mean, everybody wants him. Now that we've got Paul Ryan with us, that sort of doubles our ability to reach out. So,
well, we take him as well. We just want you to know.
I'll plant the thought that either you want either the governor or Paul Ryan. I can understand why, and I think they'd enjoy it.
You're very kind, and now you're a talent booker too, I guess. Senator, last question before I let you go. Do you think Todd Akin will stay in the race, or will he get out?
I don't know. I mean, he's made a decision to this point. I think I made my statement, I guess now about 10 days ago, and everything that's happened since then has convinced me that I was right to do that. But it's a decision he's got to make. And again, this is bigger than any individual. This is whether we're going to have a Senate that is going to enable us to turn this around. And I do think, and Governor Romney's going to be optimistic tonight, but I think everybody understands that if we go on like the way we're going for the next 4 years, the practical day-to-day consequences for America is going to be very bad. So, that's the number one thing, and I hope Congressman Akin thinks clearly about it and makes a decision that I believe is clearly in the interest of the country.
All right, Senator Jim Talent, thank you so much for joining us. Senator. Even though you're in Tampa, we're here a couple blocks away, communicated and connected through a radio tower in Northern Virginia.
That's right, in Northern Virginia. Remember, it's we have a tower in Northern Virginia right where the governor needs to talk to a lot of people.
You're very kind. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.